Hey everybody, I'm Joey Evans, and today I'm taking a look at Fisheries of Gloucester. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm pretty sure I'm not. But this right here, it's funny how the cover did not draw me in, but looking at the back, see that? I thought, okay, this might work. It is a two-player game, just straight two-player game, and it's about 45 minutes. So before I go into what I thought about it, let's quickly see an overview about how it's played. Again, this is not a full rules teach. I'm just going to go quickly over the rules so you kind of get a feel of how the game plays. Okay, we are set up for a game of Fisheries of Gloucester right now. And this is a two-player game. We're set up here. They've got the first player over here. The second player is going to get one extra tile. Pretty much this game is going to be played over 6 rounds. Those are denoted by the cards here. And at the end, the person with the most points wins. And how do you get points? Well, they're going to be these cards up here. You're going to get them by getting different fish. You've got 4 unequal fish. You can grab this one, 2 equal, 2 unequal, 3 equal, blah, blah, and rinse and repeat. So all of those are up there, and that's how you can get points. And also the islands will get you points as well. So let's take you through actually playing the game. First off, you're going to take ocean tiles. So right here, you're going to flip this, and that's 2 squares. You're going to take 2 of these and put them over there. Each person is going to get 2, and the other player is going to get that as well. And that's phase 1. Phase 2 is you add time. And then you're going to add time. You actually start with 0 here, but the first one, you're going to get 6 hours, the first player is, and then the second player will get 7 hours. So they get a little more time if you go second. And then third is where you take turns back and forth. Now, there is a game summary on the back, and this does tell you exactly what you can do and the cost of everything. Everything you're going to do may cost you time. Some things are free, but one is chart a course, and that's when you're going to play your ocean tiles. So in order to get to these fish, there's no path now because you can't travel just on the board itself. You have to travel on ocean tiles. So we're going to go ahead and plan a course. So first, the yellow is going to go here and plan a course right there. Now it flips over to the green person. The green person says, you know what, that's a good idea. I could actually do the same thing down here, or I can place this so that I can then go on yours, just like this. But we're not going to do that. We're going to place it over here. So that's chart a course. You're going to place that down. Then on top of that, you can sail. And sailing depends on how far you go. It's going to be 1 hour per point you sail into. So if I went here, 1, 2, just like this, 1, 2, I would go down 2 hours. Now, a couple things about charting a course here, which are the tiles and sailing. Sailing, of course, costs 1 to move. Like I said, you can only move on the ocean tiles. And you can also pass through, like, for example, if these two were on a larger thing here, you could pass through a ship, but however, it would cost you 2 to go through it, and you would need to continue on. You can't stop on another ship. Also right here are rough water spaces. Those are 2 to go into. You cannot cover those with ocean tiles. Speaking of which, when you place this ocean tile, you of course can't cover land, you can't cover rough water, and you also can't cover the fish. Later, these fish will be collected and moved, and then that will become open water you can place a tile on. Also, you'll notice these islands. You can get to those islands, land on the islands, but then you're there for the remainder of the game. So that fish is kind of out of it. So, but you do get these victory points, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. So at the end, people are going to be rushing to those islands to kind of get those final points after these fish are collected. Now, before we get to fish collection, one other thing about moving is, you'll notice this right here. This is your fleet marker. You can't go any further than your first ship in your fleet. Your fleet needs to stay together. So, of course, this ship couldn't put down just run all the way up here. So you've got to kind of do a back and forth, moving all of your ships forward. And as the final ship moves, this can move with it, so your fleet can kind of stay together. And action 3 is fish. So if your boat was here, you can fish, and you can collect all the fish orthogonally adjacent to you. Now, it's 1 action to collect as many fish as you want, but you do have to spend 1 hour per fish. So that does kind of add up. So, for example, I would get 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to move it down 4 hours, and I'd take these fish and place them on my boat. So let's say I did this. I went ahead and I was way over here somehow. Everything was done, and I had these fish on my boat. The final action, another action I can take, is the preserve fish. I can only do this 1 time per day, and that's cashing in these fish for one of those cards. So 2 equal fish, I could go ahead and cash 2 in to get this. and that would give me 2 time. Then of course I get the blue fish over here, or I can get 3 unequal fish, which is right here. So I choose which one I want to get, or I can save those for a future day. But for example, if I were to grab these 2 here, I would take this, I would flip it. You don't have to flip it necessarily, but you do get this immediately, this 2 right here. Let me show you. Here we go. The 2, 1, 2. So I'd get 2 more time. Everything here, well, some give rewards, some just give more victory points. And then finally, once everybody uses all the actions they want to, they can end their day. And the first person to end their day gets to grab this card right here, and they take it. But now they don't become first player. They choose if they're going to become first or second player. Again, first player is nice, but second player is going to be able to get 1 extra hour, which may matter depending on what you want to do the following day. And the way you end the day is you move the preservation card that you earned to the right of your player board, which these obviously will be spread out. I'm doing that for camera. And you can keep 1 ocean tile to use the following day, but you return the rest to the supply. And one other thing right here I will mention, you'll notice these little lobster guys. These lobsters can be spent at any time to give you an extra action right away, like kind of like a double turn. So you get to spin the lobster and say, I'm going to go ahead and sail twice. And that's kind of the way you can kind of really try to get in somewhere before somebody else does. And then you keep doing that at the end of the day, and then you go until there are 6 days. You count up all the victory points, which are from these and whichever islands you land in, and whoever has the most victory points wins. And that's how you play Fisheries of Gloucester. Okay, so that's a quick overview about how it's played. It's not all the rules, but actually it's most of them in that one. But it's a very simple game. That's the big thing. That's one thing I do like about this. It's very approachable. You sit there and you're like, here are the rules, simple phases right there, go through it and go. You're collecting fish to get different rewards for different types of fish. This game has, one thing that surprised me is the tension that this game has. At the beginning, it really looks like there are very few decisions. You're moving your ship forward and you're just going down through there. But the further you get on the map, that's when a lot of the decisions show up, because you'll start to deviate. Like there are so many times that all of a sudden, I thought the whole time these 2 ships are going to stay together. They're going to stay and they're going to fish this area. Well, you have one ship that comes over here to help either block or help get a bunch of fish of a certain color here, and you've got ships going back and forth, and then it's simple rules, but then every once in a while you'll be like, all right, you'll plan something through, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna move here, do this, get around there, and get in this group of fish here, and then you're like, oh no, the last member of my fleet is too far back. And it's so funny when that happens and the person didn't kind of calculate for that. And you're like, oh, wait. And they're like, shoot. And then you've got to move everybody else forward and you up. And then while watching that time, because that's not a lot of time you get throughout the day. I mean, that's not much. There's not a lot of movement between all of your ships and all of your fishing. So it's you're really trying to use everything that you have or save it. And I mean, that give and take, that system that you're building is really, really enjoyable. Then on top of that, the timing of you're getting your rewards, the fact that you can do it once a day, and you're getting those for a lot of victory points, of course, but then also adding that time at the end, because there's so much, not math, I don't want to say it's very mathy, but you're like, okay, I can make it there. He can't. But if they get that reward, then that gives them 2 extra time. All of a sudden, they're back in the running to get that area for fish, right? And like, do you want to blaze through them? Do you want to go through the rough waters? And then, of course, you can do a simple. There are several times, like towards the end of the game, where people are kind of racing for those islands. There was a time it was pretty funny where the guy I was playing with, Matt, he was going to go around right to the island. I knew that, and I could not make the island. But what I could do is I could go park my ship right next to the island. So it would then that would make him 1 extra turn, which he did not have to get there. So eventually he went to a different island. Those type of little decisions that are made in this make this a really fun back and forth 2-player game. So this is one that initially the cover didn't grab me, like I said, but the gameplay on this is really fun. It's really enjoyable, and it has those moments where you're like, oh, come on. And that's what I like about this. So this, I'm coming in at an 8 for this. I really like Fisheries of Gloucester. This is, again, I think it's unique. I think it's fun. You grab fish, you get the rewards for them, and it's quick, easy to teach, to sit down and just play through at a great beginning of the night when you wait for people or end of the night. So this is one I would definitely recommend checking out. So this is a seal of approval for us here at the Dice Tower. Check this out. This is Fisheries of Gloucester. And this is actually, little known fact, this is the one type of ship that I will not be puking off the side of. Yeah, didn't get seasick once. Go me. All right, I'm Joey Evans, and I'll see you later on the channel.